what I think I'm going to do is pull this off and work it back and forth a few times, run the pedal, and make sure that this is moving freely, because for some reason these pistons are not sinking back into their bores, and I feel like it's just getting a little hot back here. And this was rebuilt about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, so sitting outside does not do well for these things. It is true. So if there's some stuff caught up in there, I want to see it, see how it works back and forth. So if I need to take this apart again and clean it, I'm going to go over here and steal this one off the Magna and throw that on and ride that, see if that one works okay. If it looks like it's good, then I'll just use it. I mean, why not? We don't have to rebuild two, but to get that 83 Magna back on the road, we should have that brake caliper off and cleaned anyway. I already took the front ones off and I lost them. They're in here somewhere, as you know. They're hidden, so we'll find them in the long term. So anyway, I'm going to pull off the 14 and the 12. We've done this before. I showed you in another video, so if you need to do that. 12 doesn't fit in here very well with the socket, so we just go in here and torque it off with a wrench, and then she's free and we can get her past this guy. Might have to move that out a little bit, but she's hanging on there. Is that not connected down here? That does not seem to be connected very good. Meh, I don't know, it's just loose. It might be connected to the pipe, but not to a bracket or something. Anyway, and then I want to see this. I'll leave that on now, and then I'll see it working back and forth. I put her up on the center stand, and I was running the wheel, and everything works good. This is hard to do with one hand. And she brakes, and she rolls. So it's not terrible, but I like to know that my stuff is working completely properly. And yeah, I just feel like she's just not letting go perfectly. This muffler was loose, so I pulled this bolt out right here, right there, 14 millimeter, and just kind of wiggled this out, and it is coming free. So I think there's some things to tighten down. I'm not sure why that's loose in the first place, but it might explain why I have some popping on deacceleration. So we'll have to address that at some point, but back to this guy. All right, both bolts are out, and obviously we are having an issue sticking to the rotor. Mostly down in this side. I can't lift her off. Now, there is a ridge at the edge of the brake caliper, or the brake disc, that I guess I'll have to sand down. That might be causing this to stay there, but obviously this is rolling with the disc more than it's not, and it is getting stuck on here. So this might be rubbing. It might be part of our issue. So I'm gonna sand this down with some I don't know, 220 sandpaper, see if I can get that ridge off the edge. And you can tell this is worn down brake rotor, but let's see if we can get this edge down with some sandpaper. Just run around the edge and clean that up. Okay, I really think we have an issue here, because by hand I can't get this ridge off. I'm gonna have to get out a sander to actually do this and hopefully get that ridge down on the inside and the outside. So like I said, this rotor is worn, but I just got a mallet out, and I can't even knock this caliper over that ridge. She is so solidly stuck on there that she does not want to make it. So what I'm gonna have to do, I guess, is put a C-clamp on here and compress this way to push these pistons in. You can see the pistons are pretty far out there. So to push these in, and I'm to maybe put it on the wheel and use the wheel as leverage and just compress it in a little bit so I can even get it off of here. So this guy, for some reason, pistons are not sliding back and forth, so it's gonna need a rebuild. I think the seals are fine, nothing's leaking. It's just whatever's happening here that is not relieving the pressure. I just think maybe the pistons are just not sliding back in for some reason. Got it off. And we're gonna push these back in, push them back out, watch them, see what's going on. Push those back in, they went in pretty good, so I don't know. So now, what happens when you push down your pedal over here? They slide out. One slides out first, then it builds up pressure on the other side. That's probably the one that gets pressure first because it's closer to the line. And the line's kind of in the middle, but that is the one we're building up pressure first. And what, is that the one closer to the front? Okay. And now, whoop, there goes my slide. That goes up in here. All right, keep pushing this. Yeah, they seem to be working. Seem to be working just fine. Let's spray it with some brake fluid, brake cleaner again. And yeah, we're gonna just take off the other one just to see how this one works versus this one. And I'm gonna push this back in again and work it back and forth. Don't know why it's doing what it's doing, but I don't know, this might be a little close here, this bracket. Still sounds like it's touching, probably because of this ridge. Like I said, I need to sand that down. Maybe I can make this better, just as it is. I'll get up my power sander, orbital, try and sand that flush. You can't feel it, but there's definitely a ridge there. I think that would help, at least help in our situation. So can't really get my power sander in there, but I can hand sand that a little bit on the inside, but it's not gonna knock it down. We'd have to take the wheel off and take the disc off to get all that cleaned up, but at least I'll get the one side. All right, sand, push this back in. So we can get them all pushed out pretty far. I need to get this past, this pad past the spring, so that I can get these pushed out the whole way. That spring popped up, so now I have force on it. So I'll push them back in, get this pad out to the outside, past those springs, and then get these as far out as I can and spray them up, clean them up good. Okay, now we got this, both pads to the outside, so let's work this back and forth. Like I said, I'm gonna push these out. Always starts with that one. Push these out as far as they can go. And then we're gonna spray them up, scrub them as good as we can. We can push them the whole way out, but for some reason, they are not going back in happily. So I don't know. I got a metal brush around here somewhere. Got brake clean. And where are we? Here's a metal brush. There we go. And then I got brake cleaner. So, scrub it up good. And see where we're left. These guys look really good. I don't know why this will be a problem. Cleaned up nice, unless there's something in further that I'm missing without pulling them the whole way out. I don't know. We can do the same thing over there and see what happens on that Magna. I have to get the Shadow out of the way. But, you know, this is the old Shadow 600. She has a puddle under her, so we obviously know something's leaking down below. Oil pan, I guess. It looks like oil to me. And we'll have to address that when we get back on the Shadow. Alright guys, I'm not going to do the loud noises, but I got my palm sander here. I only have 220. I don't have anything coarser. So I'm going to go around the outside here and try and take down this ridge. And hopefully it works. I can shine up the the disc as I go, the rotor. But yeah, it's pretty clean. There's not a lot of rust, but I want to get rid of this edge. I feel like that might help us out a little bit. Maybe I'll get a little closer to the inside edge, because the pad runs from in here to here, and maybe just this ridge on either side is not helping us. And again, can't really do the inside unless I take it off. So guess that's just gonna stand as it is. Okay, I got the Magna brake caliper off, the rear one. It's tight, but I'm gonna show you, well, you can't really see, but this rotor has no ridge on it, no ridge on the outside. So this is actually a really good rotor. A little bit on the inside, outside not so much. The tire looks great on the back of this Magna. I'm not even sure if that would cross over to my Sabre, but yeah, let's look at this brake caliper. Same exact setup. Like I said, she was tight. She's a little dirty, dirtier than that one. So I don't think I'm just gonna flip this over to that side. I think we're missing a cap here. There's supposed to be a dust cap on there, I believe, but you know, whatever. So I don't know that I'm gonna be switching this right over that. Pads are good on here, but you know, I just, at this point, I wanna run that one again. I do, I really wanna run that one again. It's going in and out just like it should. I took my sander down and got that ridge knocked down a little bit on the rotor. Oh, let me check the inside too. Nope. She's good. She has no problems. So hopefully, this knocked down my 220 really quick, but still a little bit of a ridge there. I might need stronger sandpaper. 220 didn't really, like I said, it died pretty quick. Sanding down this giant piece of metal. But I cleaned it up really nice. Hopefully rounded it off and got the junk off. So I did hit the inside a little bit too, just to try and get that down. It's pretty. Maybe I get another piece of sandpaper, see if I can get some of these sections knocked down a little harder. And yeah, go with it. So I think I just, yeah, that is missing a rubber boot. It's supposed to keep moisture and dirt out of there when you put this bolt through into there. So I don't know, this seems fine. It does, it really does. It's giving me issues. This guy is not sliding very good. Maybe this is part of my problem. Maybe this needs some work. My grease didn't work very well in there. Is that what you're telling me? It looks dirty. Maybe that is my issue. Maybe that's not sliding back and forth. I'll have to free that up. I don't know. That could be my issue. Maybe it's not the pistons themselves. So I'm going to free this up. I'm not sure how. I've already just taken a hammer and knocked them through. This is bent a little bit, so I think I hit this on one of the wrecks. But we'll tighten down my muffler. I think I can get it off, but do I really need to? I really just wanted to have it not moving around. Maybe I should take it off and check it out. But I'm gonna free up this slide here. That's not doing well. I'm going to assume when I reassembled this before with new seals on the pistons, I don't think I messed with this slide. It looks pretty devastatingly grody. Our seals are over here and they don't look great either. Here's our piston. Did I mess with this? If I did, this rebuild was terrible. Look how crappy this is. Maybe this just didn't clean up. I don't know. But I got this out. These are never fun because you need to put the seals in and get this in and make sure they don't bind up and all that good stuff. So I guess we have to clean this up somehow. Go drop it in some acid and let it do its work and get cleaned up. Maybe that's what I did last time. I don't know, but we'll have to go in here and clean this out, clean up that bore, clean those up. If I need new ones, fine. But I might be able to save those. They seem, nothing's ripped there. They're just rusty inside. So don't let your bike sit outside, guys. I'm gonna go throw this in some acid for a couple days. Should clean that right up. We have our plastic bin of acid. You can see all the rust that has come off of other things that I've soaked in here. And you probably yell at me for using my fingers here. But let's see how this guy cleaned up. We'll hit it with some water and see if she actually isn't rusty like she was. Well, I just hit it with water, and look at that. She cleaned up really nice. A little bit of steel wool to that, and we can dry it. I guess the inside's fine too, because that's where the bolt goes through. But you still want this to be clear so it can slide and pivot a little bit. So we'll clean this up with a little bit of steel wool. She's almost smooth. And we can put this back into action. Well, the bore here cleaned up very nice. I basically just took a screwdriver and a towel and kind of went in through there and just wiped it out. Came up really nice and clean. Of course, we got our, I don't know what you'd call this sleeve. It's pitted from old rust, but it cleaned up good. So hopefully put some grease on there and it slides just fine. Our rubber boots seem good. So we're gonna put this back together, guys. And because these pistons are moving freely, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on and hope that this time we're good. Like I said, it was clean before, and we put in new seals down here. Hopefully this helps it to pivot a little more so it doesn't get stuck. The other thing is, maybe I'll work on, actually I should check the rotor on this other, on the parts bike. Can I see it? Yeah. All right, can I reach it through this bumper? Oh, how's the rotor on this one? This one's clean. So if I really want to and have to, this rotor is actually no ridge on the end, no ridge on the inside. That's a good rotor. I think that bike only has like 2,000 miles, 3,000 miles. So anyway, that's for another day. We're going to put this back together, lube it up good, get these guys. This is always tricky. You have to put these in. Whoops, goodbye. This lip has to go on the inside here, and then this lip has to go on the opposite side of that. Oh man, right in the water. That has to fit into this groove here. So it's not easy to do. It's kind of annoying, but work at it, go back and forth. It's hard to get both sides at one time. So anyway, I'm gonna go get some grease. I'll put it on the inside of the bore. See, I don't see any reason why that shouldn't slide once she's all cleaned up. That was hard to get out of there. I had to like pry it out, and you know, it wasn't moving if I had to work too hard to get it out. So now we're good. And that only sat for, it didn't even sit for 24 hours in the acid, but you can see she cleaned up good. All right, I'm gonna put this back together, grease it up. I just greased this slide because I don't want it to, I don't want grease all over where the boots sit, because then they'll slide out of their holders there. So I think what I'll do is put a holder on the one side, or a boot on one side, and try and slide this sucker through. I don't know, it's really hard. Like, it's gonna take all the grease off if I do it this way, but it's really hard to get this in once the slide's in there. It is, it's difficult. So anyway, I'm gonna mess with this. In the meantime, you guys can go do what you want to do. There, just make sure that's in, make sure that's sitting, it's not, in the groove. There we go. Make sure it's all even around the outside. And I don't know, maybe I'll stick this one on the slide. No, it has to be in the groove first. Ah, it's tricky. Okay, look how pretty and beautiful that is. What I ended up doing was sticking this boot on the end of the slide, and it basically, as I slid it in, it pulled all the grease off. So I did end up putting grease on the inside here, and I also greased the inside of the boot so I could slide this through. So first I put the slide in this end of the boot, put this end inside the housing. And then this one was already on, but I had to grease that. So when I slid this through, the lip actually caught onto this perfectly, so that's already done. And then it pushed this one out. So I had to pull it back again and then grease the inside of this so this would slide through. Make sure it's pretty much in the middle, because this is a little bit, you can be off center and push like one of the corners off here, and then slide that through there. And then it actually caught, and I just popped this on the edge, and now this thing that wouldn't move before moves very freely. So I think this is going to at least help our situation. So everything's good. Now I'm just gonna reinstall this. We gotta slide this over and put these back into place. I'm gonna break those off eventually. I keep moving them out of the way so I can mess with this, and that's gonna get brittle and crack and break off, which I don't even know why they're there. It's kind of weird. They don't need to be there. That's holding the pins in, and this bottom part really doesn't need to be there, but if it breaks off, then we're not gonna have it there at all. So I'm gonna put this back on. This is good to go. That ridge is still there, but it's not hopefully gonna be a big issue. Now that this is sliding, we're gonna grease our bolts again, our mounting bolts. One goes here. Yeah, that's good. Right there, that's good. Gonna grease that, put it in. Actually, let's pop this off and just look in there. Make sure that looks clean. I'll put some grease inside there. Just a little bit around the outside of the bore. And then this bolt needs to be greased before that goes through the bore there. And let's hope we're good this time. Don't forget to put your little slide back in here, because I'm sure that fell off when the whole caliper came off. That guy. It actually has these little tabs here. You can bend that in a little bit to make sure that it sits right here in that hole and that hole. But that's where that goes. Probably wondering. So I forgot to put it in. Time to grease it up and he'll stay there. Be careful here, you don't pinch your boot. That boot lines up with that, and make sure this slides out here far enough and that you don't pinch your boot on the other end. So we'll just make sure to pull this out a little bit, slide that into place, and then when you go to put your bolt in here, make sure your boot is not pinched and lined up correctly here. You don't want that happening. And then same here, make sure everything's lined up correctly and not out of place. You can look down through, make sure everything is lined up good and not pinched. Oh, and here's where you're gonna grease this bolt, and you're gonna grease this bolt here, because these need to slide. This is the one that goes up here. And I did put grease in there because this easily could get wiped off as I go through, but try and center it and make sure you don't wipe it all off. And this one actually won't get wiped off because it's just going in this metal tube here. So it's gonna be easy to get through there. So grease these up and let's put them back in. All right, now we got our rear brake reinstalled again. Should be sliding quite well. And hopefully what we did with the pistons works this time, now that we greased up the slides and cleaned everything up. So hopefully that's all good. Now I got to figure out what's going on with my muffler here. She seems really loose. I got to see why that is. Here's our bolts. They look really rusty. And I guess I could take, is this a cover? Maybe I can pull that cover off. I don't, I see a lot of rust in there. That's actually, yeah, it's almost separated right here. Hopefully that's not a hole. But again, that might be my popping. I need to get in there and look at my collector. I think that's the collector. So our header pipes come down from the front into the collector, and then the mufflers are attached to that. So I'm afraid it might be the collector that's rusty and why it's loose. And as I do this, I'm just making it worse, which means the collector pipe's probably cracking, and I'm making a mess. So, maybe I can patch it. We'll see. I feel like this is getting, making more problems than I need. I don't know. I wonder if you can see it. If I put you underneath there, I'll look at it. But for now, the rear brake was why we were here. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Hopefully this is not a problem and I can just put the bolt back in and everything is happy. So I'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Get out and ride. Make your brakes pretty. Good news, guys. If you're still here, you get a bonus footage. I did pull off my muffler and the clamp is not doing anything. I did wiggle it off and it's just, everything's fine. This was on the inside. Junk. So we need to wrap that. Wrap something with heat tape. I think I have some. And then get her fit back on there. And she'll be good to go. Yeah, she's got some scratches, but nobody's too worried about that these days. I should free up this clamp. See that? The clamp is actually completely down, and it wasn't holding fast because just the inside stuff was coming out. So we'll clean that up. We'll put some PB Blaster on here. See if I can make something of these bolts. They are pretty rusty and gross. But if we can fix them up, we'll get this back on and she'll be fine. Then we'll go back down the road again. See you guys on the next one.